everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome back if this is not your first time watching one of our videos, and if it is your first time, then it's really good to see you and welcome. So we are going to be looking at the All About Spelling curriculum level 1 as our flip through of the curriculum that we're looking at today, just in case you are considering looking at purchasing this curriculum for your family's home education. I know sometimes we don't always get to see inside of curricular choices that we are considering, and I know I'm not the only one who has purchased loads and have loads sitting on my shelf that I've bought, and then once I've looked through them and maybe done one or two lessons, thought actually this isn't quite the right fit for my family. But I've started these videos really to help home educating families like yourself, so that you are able to have a look inside of all these different curriculum choices and get a good feel for whether or not it's going to be a good fit for your family. So today we're looking at the All About Spelling level 1 curriculum, which I will say they have very recently released a new edition of this same curriculum, which is at the color edition. So this one that we're looking at right now is the black and white version, which is how they were before. And there are a lot of these still around, and you may have purchased not too long ago a copy of this black and white version, but then within the last month or so, I believe they've now released the color edition. So this video will be looking at the black and white. However, I do also have the color edition to show you a kind of a comparison between the two. So this video is going to be flipping through the black and white. Then we'll do, there will be another video. So do subscribe and like this channel and this video so that you don't miss out, so that you can see the two and compare and decide which one is going to be the best fit for you, because there are some quite big differences between them. So let's jump right in. So what you'll get, you've got your level 1 teacher's manual and you've got your level 1 student packet. So if we look at the teacher's manual first, what it's going to start off with is going to give you a quick overview of the curriculum, and it's going to give you a list of the materials that you'll need to follow this particular level of this curriculum. Each level is going to have a slightly different list of things. They're mostly going to be the same, but just so you can have a look and see the materials for this one, you'll need your student packet, which is what we just saw. Then you'll need a set of the All About Spelling letter tiles, which are these. And then you'll need to, or you can download the Sounds app. So the Phonogram Sounds app you can download from their website. There is a review box that you would use, which is literally a box. It's their branded box, so it will look like this. And it's a box that you'll put your divider cards and flashcards into, which are these. So it's just the box to really store these. So you can purchase their branded box, or you can just buy a index card box that will fit, like an index card sized a box that will fit those into. The divider cards are these plastic divider cards. These are the flashcards that come as part of the student packet, which we'll look into, but the divider cards is referring to these. And then your child will just also need a notebook of lined paper. Then there's some following optional resources that you can use. So stickers, colour pencils, letter tile magnets are, if you want to use these tiles in a way that you can use them with a magnetic whiteboard, for example, which is the last optional item that you can use. So it's just if you would like to be able to use them with a magnetic whiteboard or something like that. You don't have to. So that's why that's an optional thing as well. These ones do have little magnetic strips, which you can just purchase separately online, maybe somewhere like Amazon, for example, and then stick those onto the back of your letter tiles. So if we first go into this section, it's going to prepare you as the parent who's going to be using this curriculum with your child for understanding how this curriculum works. So All About Spelling follows what's called the Orton-Gillingham method, which is a method of teaching that is specifically designed for by Dr. Orton and Anna Gillingham, and it's for children who have who struggle particularly with things like dyslexia, so learning difficulties that impact when it comes to their reading, their writing, their letter reversals, spelling, which dyslexia obviously impacts all of those areas. So this whole curriculum follows the Orton Gillingham method, which is found to be very effective for children who have that particular type of learning difficulty or disability, which my children do. So this is something, the Orton Gillingham method is something that I found personally for my children. My eldest child have really helped him a lot. He struggled with phonics, the way that they are taught here in the UK typically. We don't typically have the Orton Gillingham method used in schools and things like that. So it was really once we started to home educate that he made some progress with regards to his spelling. And then when my youngest child as well started home educating and we're at the stage to start learning how to form their letters and things, again, they struggled quite a bit. And so we found the switching over to the Orton Gillingham method really helped with them. So just a brief outline. So it's going to break down what methods are used. That for this curriculum, there's visual learning, auditory, and kinesthetic, which is hands-on doing, which is more where the letter tiles and things like that will come in. And also there's tokens that you would use with your child, that they would do some hands-on work to help them to kind of get a concrete understanding of the way words are formed, the sounds, how words are segmented, and things like that. This section breaks down for us as the parent to be able to understand what phonograms are, because it may be a term that we're not that familiar with, or one that we've heard a long while back when we were in school ourselves. And so this just breaks down, well, what are phonograms? What does it mean when it's talking about phonograms? And it breaks it down and explains it really clearly here so that we can have confidence when using this curriculum with our children, and we know what we're saying and what we're trying to explain to them. Then this is helping us to know how to set up our spelling review box. And then this is more on familiarizing ourselves with the phonograms and looking more specifically at the basic phonograms. There is a QR code here. I've just covered it because obviously if you've not purchased the curriculum, I feel it would be unfair to just have that out there. But there is a QR code here to download the Phonogram Sounds app, which you can do for free. This then will show us how to organize the letter tiles, which we saw were these. And for this particular level, the first level, it's just letting you know you wouldn't use all of these tiles. So all of the tiles that come with it, you wouldn't use all of them for level 1. These tiles are for all of the levels. And so right through to level, I believe it's 5. So this is going to be showing us which ones we're going to use now, which ones you're going to use later, and then these ones would be for level 2 when you move on to the next level. And this is just a diagram as to if you were setting up a magnetic board. Say, for example, you wanted to use a magnetic whiteboard, how you would set that up. This does show some of the letter tiles that you wouldn't use with level 1. It shows how it would be by the end of all of the levels. It would look, this is how it would be fully. But this is just showing you, this is how the tiles would be laid out. And then you'd have a space in the middle for your child to be able to do their hands-on work with the letter tiles. Again, you don't have to use magnetic tiles. You could decide, for example, to just use your table surface and just have the tiles laid out, and they can just pull the letters down according to the activity that they're doing at that time. Next, it's going to explain the method that is used, the 6-step method that is used for the All About Spelling program. So this is how it is. So you'll start with, first for yourself, reading through each lesson so that you are familiar with it and familiar with what's going to be happening during that lesson. Then you'd gather the materials. Then with your child, you would review anything that you've gone over previously. So review previously taught concepts. Then you would introduce new concepts after you've reviewed the previous concepts. After which you would then reinforce the new concepts, and at the end of that you would file your flashcards. And that may not make much sense when you're talking about filing flashcards, and so we will look at what these flashcards are. That will make a bit more sense. So these are your flashcards. They are all color coded. So you have your phonogram cards, which are yellow. You've got your key cards, which are blue, your sound cards, which are red, and your word cards, which are green. And the dividers are also color coded to go with the actual colors of the cards themselves. Now, when it's talking about filing the flashcards, let's take, for example, our phonogram cards. Move these ones to the side. So if you look closely on the dividers, each of them has a slightly different heading. So they're all for the phonogram cards, but this one says review. This one is for mastered. And then the third one is for future lessons. And all of the dividers are labeled in that way. So these are all for key cards, review, mastered, future lessons. So what that means is when you first set up your box, whichever box you're going to use, whether it's their branded box or whether it's your own purchased index card box that will fit these cards really nicely in, you would have all of your colored cards behind their color-coded dividers, all at the very back, up behind future lessons. So the dividers are numbered 1, 2, 3, all the way through. You'd have them in order so that they're in the right order. And all of your lessons before you start will be behind future lessons because you haven't done any of them just as yet. As you're working through these with your child, then some of these cards that you, for example, have, your child has mastered these cards, they are confident with them, then those cards would go behind mastered. So put some of those behind mastered. Then if you have started working with your child on that particular card or set of cards, where you've been introducing a new concept, but they haven't mastered it as yet, but it's been introduced, it would go behind review. So eventually, once you've gone through everything and you've finished the level, you wouldn't have cards behind the future lessons. Everything would eventually end up behind mastered. So that's what it's talking about when it's saying file the flashcards, and it will guide you as you go through the lessons, which are called steps. In this particular curriculum, the lessons are all called steps, and there are 24 steps. It will guide you as to where to put the cards and when. So you don't have to worry and try and figure out, well, where should I put this one? Should it be under review? Should it be under mastered? Should we be doing this? It really is really straightforward, open and go, and easy to follow. So straight into it next, the step-by-step lesson plan. So step 1, and this is the first one, and that is your lesson because they are called steps, as I mentioned. And then the very last one is step 24. So there are 24 steps. So these are all of the lessons. It goes straight in. They are all laid out in a uniform way. So they look the same. They're laid out the same way. So at the beginning, you'll have a summary of what's in this particular lesson, what the student's going to be looking at, and what materials you'll need. And then it's going to remind you, familiarize yourself, what you need to do first, read through what needs doing before you then do it with your child so that you're confident doing it. And it's going to guide you through step by step, essentially. So the curriculum is what's called scripted. So what you need to be saying, it's going to give you like a prompt, basically. So you can just be reading through what it says. We're going to see which of these cards you know and which of them we should work on. We'll sort them into 2 piles, and that's what you're going to be saying with your child. And then it will say here, show your student this particular card. And so it's really, really straightforward. I absolutely love it because it is no fluff, no faff. you know, some things we want all the bells and whistles on, but I find that for my kids in particular, particularly my youngest, who I'll be using this curriculum with, his attention is pretty short. So we've used curriculums that have like stories in and lots of stuff, and he just switches off. So, you know, I had to switch curriculums a few times because he just was not progressing, because there was too many bells and whistles. Although it was beautiful and it worked well with my eldest, did not work with my youngest. So I love that this one is just straight to the point. It's scripted. It's very open and go. No kind of, you know, faffing around and messing about. Yeah, so which takes a lot of the stress out of it for us as the parents. We've got a lot of things that we need to do as it is. So yeah, so it just reaches through. There's these little highlighted boxes throughout just to draw your attention to certain things that it might be prompting you to do, things to remember, tips, all those types of things as you're working through. It will let you know what materials to use. So this is representing the tokens. It will say at the beginning of that section, you will need X amount of tokens. So you won't have to kind of get to think, oh, I need to go and find this, and this, because you already know, so you'll have them. And which, if you're using any of the flashcards, it will tell you which ones you'll need. The cards themselves, as well as the dividers, are numbered. So, for example, where this is talking about key cards, the key cards are the blue ones, key cards 1 and 2. So we're not looking at the dividers, you're looking at the actual key cards, and this is key card 1. So they are all numbered, and it even will tell you which is step 3, which lesson essentially this is going to be introduced at, and you'll need this one and this one for level 1, step 3. So everything is really clearly laid out, which I absolutely love. So that is the teacher's manual, and we've looked at the flashcards, the letter tiles. The tokens that come with it are like this. So these are what it's referring to when it's talking about tokens. You might see it a bit better like that. So there's just little colored tokens, or you can use coins or anything else that you might have at home if you choose not to use the tokens. But just so you can see what they're talking about. And then if we look at the student packet, it's this. So there's no book for the student. There's no workbook. The student packet is literally this, and the cards and everything else that's listed here. So this is what would come as part of your student packet. You'd have the phonogram chart, which is this. So these are the different phonograms that will be taught and that your child will be learning during level 1. The tokens, which we've just looked at, the phonogram cards, sound cards, key cards, and word cards, which are all your color-coded cards here. And then you will have your progress chart. Your progress chart is this, which you would be able to color in or put stickers on, which is why they said optional materials you might want are stickers or coloring pencils, is to mark off your child's progress as they're working through the curriculum. So with the progress chart and with the phonograms chart, that's what the stickers and things would be for. And the stickers for this, it does come with some of these cute little bee ones, most of which ours are kind of, my kid has a thing for stickers. So, but yeah, so you can get some stickers. You don't have to use those ones, or you can just color them in to track their progress. So the stickers for progress chart, which is what we just looked at, and then the certificate of achievement. So that makes up the whole student packet for the older version now of level 1. So as I explained, All About Spelling curriculum has very, very recently released a new edition. And that new edition, where everything is black and white and the student packet looks like this, the new edition is all color, and there actually is a student book. So as a kind of heads up for that, we will be looking at the two just very briefly, so I can kind of give you a bit of a heads up. So this is the color edition, just so you can get a quick idea of some of the differences. So this is the teacher's manual for the original one, the black and white version. This is the teacher's manual for the color, the very new color edition. You can see, if I hold them up side by side, there is quite a big difference. This one is much thicker than this one. And there's a lot more in it. So it's more like this. There's more content inside, more graphics. Where with the original one, this was the student packet. For the color version, we still have the student packet like this, but it also now includes the activity book. So the students have their cards, the flashcards, but they also have a activity book, which comes with the color edition. And so there's lots of games, lots of hands-on. Again, it's still very multi-sensory in its approach of learning, loads of games, lots of hands-on activities to do. But that is the biggest difference, is that not just that it's in color, but there is a student book. Now, if, for example, you had the teacher's manual and you're thinking, well, maybe I'll just buy the student packet for the color version, they would not line up. So the black and white version of the teacher's manual will not line up with the student packet for level 1 of the color edition. You would need to purchase the full set for the color edition, being the teacher's manual and the student packet for the color edition, because they will not cross over and line up with the previous version. So you couldn't use the old teacher's manual with the new color student packet, because they don't line up. And you, having looked at the teacher's manual side by side, it will kind of give an idea as to why, because we know the latter one is much thicker. So that brings our review of All About Spelling Level 1 to a wrap. I hope that you found that really, really helpful. If you have any questions, do feel free to drop them in the comments below and I will respond to those. And as I said, like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other curriculum flip throughs that I'll be uploading, so that you can get an idea of what's inside curriculum before you buy it, because some of these are a bit of an investment and you wouldn't want to make the same mistake that I did, which is spending a whole chunk of money buying the whole shebang and then finding out later that actually doesn't really work with my child. So I hope that this helps to save you some of that stress and some of those tears and your bank balance a little bit. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.